Some of our agents have said to me, I hate making phone calls. We've listed just under £400 million worth of property to the market.
What's the point of Prospect Engine and why did you start it?
I was reading an article about Foxtons and how they generate up to 40% of their business from their existing database, and that sort of really piqued my interest. I actually trialled the data personally for an estate agency, and lo and behold, in a few hours, we booked in 6 market appraisals from data that was 10 years old. So we knew, I knew pretty early on that we had a business.
In terms of the actual business location, what does it look like? Where are your offices? How many people are there?
So we're based up in sunny Newcastle. We have 14 staff at the moment. We're actually taking 10 new recruits on in December, so we'll be up to around 24 staff. They're all sales staff. We're not all Geordies that work in the business, although to be honest, my Geordies are probably some of my top sellers.
And GDPR,
Yes.
inevitable question, we've had some history on that ourselves.
Yeah, we have.
How do you get around it? Is there anything to actually get around?
I think it was a bit of a Y2K moment, GDPR. Obviously, we skirt the fence on the legitimacy of interest. Obviously, we are working on behalf of national franchises as well as small independent agents and online agents, hybrid agents. So as long as we are confident that their data is compliant, then we're happy to work on it. The nice caveat of our service is as we go through the data and cleanse the data becomes more compliant because we get GDPR compliant opt-ins verbally to have future contact.
Right.
So, it's...
And are those calls recorded?
They are all recorded, yes, absolutely.
So in terms of your bespoke work, I could give you my database of market appraisals that I did a year ago.
Yeah.
I give them all to you and say, knock yourself out, see what you can produce from that lot, because I've written them off as no good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you'd only pay if you produce the market appraisal.
You pay a small management fee per month. It's generally £100 per branch per month, and that's just to cover our call costs really. Yeah. And the rest is done on a cost per lead basis really. So a set price for market appraisal, a slight incentive if that appraisal then goes to listing, and then we book in direct take on appointments. I mean, believe it or not, 20% of our bookings are listing appointments or take on appointments.
What happens if the client asks about your fees, what you're going to charge them to sell?
So again, the bespoke service. So some of our clients want us to negotiate on fees and give us parameters on which we can negotiate. Okay. But generally speaking, we will give them an in-between figure, but generally our fees are between 1% and 2%. They're all property specific and circumstantial. So, we'll let the valuer discuss that during the appointment.
Okay. And tell me about success stories to date and some stats that you can give away.
Certainly, yeah. Well, something I'm very proud of, we've actually valued over £1.6 billion worth of property for our network partners, and we've listed just under £400 million worth of property to the market since inception. We started the business back in March 2017.
So valued 1.6, listed 400. So that suggests to me, if my maths is right, 25%.
Yeah, well, we're actually slightly higher. We're on 32% across the board.
Okay, and is it all phone based, or do you have a CRM system yourself, email system that you use?
Well, it is all. We're reverting back to analog really with ourselves. Taking it back to the old school. But there's no one out there actually doing the direct outbound calling service. And believe it or not, some of our agents have said to me, I hate making phone calls. I love being out in front of people. Put me in front of anyone and I can close the business.
And in terms of the service menu that you've got, what are your main items that you offer estate agents?
So sort of top level, you're looking at lead management. That can be as heavy or as light as our clients would like. So it can be handling online valuation leads, Rightmove, Zoopla, valuation requests, traffic from their own website as well, and that's giving a sustained and immediate approach to handling new leads. So we contact new leads within 5 minutes of receiving the inquiry, and then we put in a really robust call plan to make sure that every client, every lead gets the attention it deserves. On average, around 10 calls in the first 6 weeks. There is a line between persistence and aggression, and our analysis has told us on average it takes between 4 and 5 calls to get in touch with any new lead. So, I speak to a lot of estate agents that say, we have our lead management covered, we're on it within 5 to 10 minutes, which is great, but, only 1 call or, 3 calls maximum. Well, you're kind of cutting it a little short, really. You should be making a really persistent approach to getting in touch with that new lead. Secondly is our prospecting service, so working through the historic database, again, set remits with different clients. Lastly is our sweeper service, probably our most guerrilla style service, has a real double-edged sword effect. We report on a daily basis on next calls that were missed for each of the branches, from the valuers calling vendors and applicants. We then make that call within 24 hours of the missed next call date to make sure that that client is still kept in touch with when they were supposed to be initially. That gives the valuers a kick in the right direction to make sure that they are on the ball and calling clients when they promised that they would, but it also gives the management a safety blanket to make sure that if their staff aren't calling when they should, that we will pick it up and retain the business for them.
What's the biggest reason or the biggest concerns for agents not to use you? Is there a sort of theme running that you find it hard to appease them over? Is there one thing?
So my initial concern when setting Prospect Engine up was getting our clients to actually trust us to work on their data. But I think that we've proven with our reviews and our feedback from our clients that if anything, we treat the data, even more carefully and even more preciously than their own retained staff on occasions.
Ishmael, as you know, there's no such thing as a free lunch, and you don't get to spend an afternoon with me for nothing. Mm-hmm. So what can you do? What can you do for Lock Consultancy clients who want to give this a go?
I'd like to offer all Lock Consultancy clients a discount on our service. No charges for the first month, a free trial, so to speak. A number of appointments free, first of all, so we actually show you immediately for nothing what our service is capable of. No contractual obligations within that first month, and then following that month, hopefully you will continue with our service after we show our worth.
Sounds fair to me.
No worries.
Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too, Graham.
So that was Prospect Engine. My opinion is I think they've got a place in the market. They've got over 100 estate agency clients, so they're obviously doing something right. They're a small business, but obviously they're growing fairly quickly. Now, if you're an estate agent that is very capable at following up your prospects, then you won't need Prospect Engine. However, if you're an agent that hasn't got time to follow up prospects correctly, or you don't feel that your staff are actually going to the depths that Prospect Engine do when they're following up, making several phone calls, then it might be worth trialing these guys. It might be worth doing it your way and letting them have some data and just see how they get on. I understand agents' concern about giving their data to a third party. Completely get that. But obviously they're doing something right, which tells me that it might be worth a try. Whatever you're thinking, if you're happy with your own prospecting, then brilliant, that's fine of course. But if not, maybe this has enlightened you to an alternative way. But it has to be cost effective and it has to keep your customers on side. Now, if you are interested in using the Prospect Engine service, you can get a better deal through Lock Consultancy. So feel free to contact me through LinkedIn or from the email address shown on your screen now.